A wasp colony can look like chaos, but almost nothing inside it is random. Hundreds, sometimes thousands, of insects share one nest, yet only a tiny number reproduce. Most workers spend their entire lives feeding larvae, expanding the nest, defending entrances, and collecting food. They may never produce offspring of their own. And when winter approaches, much of that organized society simply disappears. The strange part is that nobody commands it like a general. So how does a wasp colony build a functioning society, assign jobs, raise a new generation, and survive without meetings, laws, or a written plan? To understand that society, start with one individual. A social wasp is built like a compact biological machine. Its body has three main regions: head, thorax, and abdomen. The head carries large compound eyes, smaller simple eyes called ocelli, antennae, and powerful mouthparts. The antennae are especially important. They detect odors, vibrations, touch, and chemical signals from nestmates. Behind the head is the thorax. This is the engine room. 6 legs attach here, along with 2 pairs of wings. Strong flight muscles let the wasp hover, accelerate, maneuver, and return repeatedly to the nest. Then comes the abdomen, connected by a narrow waist. Inside are much of the digestive and reproductive systems. In female wasps, the egg-laying structure evolved into a stinger. That means males cannot sting. Already, biology has divided the colony into very different roles. In many temperate social wasps, the entire colony begins with one fertilized queen. She survives the cold season hidden in a protected place. When spring arrives, she emerges alone. There is no army waiting for her, no construction team, no food delivery service. She does everything herself. The queen finds a suitable location and begins building a nest. Many species make paper by scraping weathered wood fibers, chewing them, and mixing them with saliva. Layer by layer, the material becomes a surprisingly strong structure. Then she creates the first cells and lays eggs. Each egg develops into a larva, but a wasp larva is not a miniature adult. It looks more like a soft, pale grub. It cannot fly, hunt, or defend the nest. It depends completely on adults for food. The founding queen now becomes both mother and full-time worker. She hunts or scavenges protein-rich food, often insects, then brings it back to the larvae. Depending on the species, adults may chew prey into manageable portions. Larvae eat, grow, and molt repeatedly. Then something remarkable happens. After the larval stage, the developing wasp becomes a pupa. Inside its cell, its body is reorganized dramatically. Wings form, legs mature, compound eyes develop. The adult body takes shape. Eventually, the first workers emerge. This changes everything. Workers are usually females. In many social wasp species, they reproduce little or not at all, while a healthy queen dominates reproduction. Instead, they become the labor force of the colony. Some workers forage, some feed larvae, some expand the nest, others clean cells, regulate nest conditions, or guard entrances. But these are not necessarily permanent job titles. A worker can shift tasks as colony needs change. Age, environmental conditions, food availability, nest damage, and chemical communication can all influence what she does. There is no tiny manager walking around with a clipboard. The system works through local signals. Odors help wasps recognize nestmates. Chemical cues can influence behavior. Physical interactions transfer information. Returning foragers may stimulate activity. Alarm chemicals can rapidly turn a calm entrance into a defensive zone. One wasp reacts to another, which reacts to another. Complex organization emerges from thousands of simple decisions. And now the colony enters its growth phase. The queen focuses increasingly on laying eggs. Workers take over construction and food collection. More workers raise more larvae. More larvae become more workers. The society begins scaling itself. This is why a mature nest can become dramatically more active than the tiny structure founded in spring. The larvae also play a role many people overlook. They are not just helpless mouths waiting for food. In several social wasps, larvae can provide adults with nutrient-rich secretions. That creates an exchange between generations. Adults bring protein to the young. The young can return usable nutrients to adults. The colony becomes less like a warehouse and more like a living economy. Then comes another transition. Later in the season, many colonies shift from producing mostly workers toward producing reproductive individuals. New queens and males appear. Males have a very different biological mission. They do not possess stingers, and they generally contribute far less to nest labor. Their primary role is reproduction. New queens leave the nest and mate. This is where the apparent stability of the colony reveals its temporary nature. In many temperate species, the original queen dies as the season ends. Workers also die as temperatures drop and food becomes scarce. Males die after the reproductive period. The enormous society collapses. But it has not failed. Its purpose was never to keep every individual alive forever. Its evolutionary success depends on producing new reproductive queens capable of beginning the cycle again. A newly mated queen stores sperm and searches for shelter. She may overwinter beneath bark, inside crevices, underground, or in human structures, depending on the species. Then spring returns. One survivor begins another society from almost nothing. That life cycle also explains why individual roles matter so much. A worker may leave only weeks or months, yet her actions influence the survival of relatives carrying many of the same genes. This is one reason social insect behavior is closely connected with kin selection. But do not imagine workers as robotic sacrifices. Their behavior results from genetics, hormones, environment, colony conditions, and communication. Social insect colonies are organized, but they are not miniature human kingdoms. Even the queen is often misunderstood. She is not a monarch issuing commands. Her main importance is reproductive. She produces eggs and chemical signals that influence colony organization. Workers still make countless moment-to-moment decisions themselves. And despite their reputation, wasps are not simply aggressive insects looking for humans to attack. Ecologically, many are valuable predators. Social wasps hunt caterpillars, flies, beetle larvae, and other insects. By removing large numbers of prey, they can help regulate insect populations. Some also visit flowers for sugars and may transfer pollen. They are generally less famous pollinators than bees, but their contribution can still matter. They are also food for birds, spiders, reptiles, mammals, and other predators. Remove wasps completely, and you do not just remove stings. You remove predators, prey, scavengers, and sometimes pollinators from an ecological network. Of course, their defensive behavior is real. Near a nest, workers may respond strongly to perceived threats. A colony contains vulnerable larvae, a reproductive queen, and months of invested labor. From the wasp's perspective, defending that nest is not pointless aggression. It is security. And this leads to the most interesting lesson inside their society. No single wasp understands the entire colony. A worker does not need a master plan for winter. A larva does not understand resource allocation. A guard does not calculate the evolutionary future of the nest. Each individual follows limited information. Yet together, they produce architecture, defense, childcare, hunting, communication, reproduction, and seasonal timing. Then almost every participant dies. The structure is abandoned. The workforce disappears. And still, the system continues. Because the colony was never really about preserving one nest. It was about carrying life forward. A social wasp society shows how astonishing complexity can emerge without centralized control. One queen begins alone. Workers build a temporary civilization around her. Larvae become the next workforce. New queens eventually leave. Then the entire social machine shuts down. Until somewhere nearby, another queen wakes in spring, finds a piece of wood, begins chewing, and builds the first fragile cell of a brand new world.